Hi, this is Cheryl with Sea Spirit Tarot. This is quite curious. No one ever calls me, hardly ever. Sometimes they text me. I'm here by myself most of the time. This is my third attempt at making this video because people keep calling me. And on my Android, when they call me, it stops my video. I'm not calling any of them back yet till I get this done. Why they're calling me. Yesterday was the same way. No one ever calls me, and I got home and I had all these. I finally teach people not to leave messages, but text. Where have you been? What are you doing? What are you doing? It was like my phone was in my purse in the car. And I wasn't there. That's it. Okay, Maureen from Soul's Journey tagged me on this. And I'm not even sure what the name of this is. But when I copied off V's Vibe Oracle, Tarot Collab Partner Magician. Well, anyway, when I copied off her page, these are the questions. And I have to put that all together in the title. How did I get into Tarot or Oracle? I'm not really sure. I really don't know. After I graduated high school, I spent lots of years in the woods, so that kind of goes with omen and quiet. But I'd say in the early 90s, I had some friends that were going to take this class, and they said it was a tarot reader. I'd never had a tarot reading, and I just called the woman and asked if I'd take the class. She says it was based on Seth. She didn't know where I was at on my journey, if I'd get it, but I was welcome to come. So I did, and it was delightful. It went on for like 2 years, and we learned the most amazing, amazing things. Back in the early 90s, now things that are pretty much mainstream on YouTube today, but in those days we didn't have computers and such. Well, they did, but there were no personal computers. So from there, I met a woman who opened a metaphysical bookstore in Hamilton, Montana, at which I worked for, and at which I bought my first tarot deck, I presume. I really don't know. Before that, I was always into Tibetan Buddhism. I was into everything, but Tibetan Buddhism and Vedic more strongly, because that's what was available. You know, I mean, the information highway is not like it is now with the internet. If I'm drawn to Oracle or Tarot more, I'm drawn to Tarot because I believe that through the years, Tarot has its own universal consciousness that it carries, and I believe that there's a tap in to that field of energy. Even though the cards are just extensions, pieces of cardboard in our hands, it's the symbols, the pictures, the vibrations of the colors that cue us and help us remember to put ourselves back together, or to make the decisions. You know, it's just kind of a nudge. At one time, it's validation that we're on the right way. You know, are you going to listen to what your inner self is saying? But I mean, sometimes the tarot will tell you something totally different than you were even thinking. But so often, it is what you already had, and that's how that is. So that's, if I could create my own deck, what it would be an oracle. It would be an oracle of things, probably a personal oracle, special to me. Right now, a lot of the oracles, I'd have to have quite a few to kind of come up with. In the old days, we used to have to buy books. We bought books. And you'd have to buy books on, like, say, different goddesses. But now, you can get all these tarot decks on goddesses, and you get a sound bite on each one, right? A little sound bite or a big sound bite. But you get a sound bite, and that goes in. Versus, you know, when I first learned about Ceridian, is that her name? I think the book was The Silver Wheel. It was a whole book. So every goddess, you know, you'd go and you'd get books on goddesses, and then you read about the goddesses. You know, I don't have that book anymore. I don't know. But it's so easy to have a deck of cards you can just flip through. And if the symbols cue you, that's even better. So I got off track. Maybe an oracle. I'll be 70 years old in less than 69, and I'm really not worried about beating out a tarot deck at this time. I have other priorities. The first deck we got, the first deck I ever got, and that I learned with, I think, I'm not sure. It's just this plain old Rider-Waite, which is my favorite one because of the back. Though I have seen some absolutely beautiful Rider-Waites watching other readers' interviews. I mean, the colors and the things they've done with the art. And sometimes I have a couple of knockoffs, which I tend to use more. But I guess this would be my first deck. Then I bought the metaphysical bookstore I worked at. I bought this, then I bought a dragon, and then I had that awesome King Arthur Avalon one. That I traded for some Indian woman one that I don't even know. I don't even know where it is either. Show us your recent deck, Oracle, Tarot, or recent crystal. I'm going to back up. First Oracle I got, Jamie Sands. This would have been in the early 90s. And these cards by Susan Bedin-Bellew. I wanted to cover all of that for some reason. Show us your most recent deck, Oracle, Tarot, and recent crystal. My most recent Oracle deck is, of course, my beloved Ganesha that I got for Christmas. Energetic movement, energetic movement. My most recent Tarot, is that on here? Or Tarot, I guess. Oh, is, well, that's all doubled up. Isn't that interesting? Santa Marta, Book of the Dead. It's my most recent Tarot, which is pretty Rider-Waite, but I guess that's what they call Rider-Waite clones. I don't know all the lingo, a lot of lingo, like I don't understand depthier. I don't understand a lot of the new lingo, but I just hang in there. And my most recent crystal, I think, is this Lapis Lazuli that I bought at the Christmas Bazaar at the Moody Methodist Church. But I really don't know that either. I have a lot of I don't knows. If I could share a tip with someone learning the tarot for the first time, what would it be? Just do it. I was so terrified, and even when I was forced to just do it, I just didn't keep doing it. I was just terrified. And don't let odd readings trip you up, because they usually have a really awesome ending. First TarotTuber I followed, I have no idea. I started back into the tarot, then I got the brilliant idea to look on YouTube, and I ended up with all those love readings. And I mean, they were great. They're like watching soap operas. Yeah, get him, yeah, get him, yeah, he was a traitor, he is an asshole, get him. And then there's the other one where Prince Charming was coming, he's going to be here day after tomorrow, or anytime I watch that, you know, it would probably be the next day. But I was watching them to watch how they were reading, how they were interpreting the cards, because at that time I hadn't even found people who were giving tarot lessons on the YouTube. But I kind of got caught in those for a while. Which ones? I have no idea who my first one I followed was. What was life before tarot of the holistic path? What? Where did you come from? I think I came from, I guess, basically I was raised Episcopal, and the church colors are so pretty, and the vestments and the candles and the bells. It was life before tarot, the holistic path. Was there never not a holistic path? When I was, let's see, I graduated, grew up a surfer, I had a horse, so I was always the outside, that's pretty holistic. Sailing. I went to University of Wyoming. My first year, I took comparative religion, both semesters. To me, that was pretty holistic. By the time I was 20, now remember, I'm almost 70. I'm a year short of 70. So by 20, I was learning about reflexology and taking herbal classes from an herbalist. And then it just continued on. You know, I had my own natural food store a couple times. I did the whole milk goat thing, lived out in the woods, 4-wheel drive, 4 in and out, holistic. I was an RN that kept me from being holistic, but now I am back very into quantum healing and using the tarot as part of my spiritual path. And I don't know where I went with that or what the question, where did I come from? I don't know. I guess it was always there. It was always there to some sort or event. And like I said, we didn't have internet. We didn't have internet. Favorite go-to spread of my top 3. One is that just laying 3 cards out and either giving them a place or making a story, of which I pulled 3 Thoth cards from my regular Thoth lesson, but 4 came out, so there's going to be 4 when I get to that. The other one is Vincent Passetti. I love this. I don't know if you can see it, so I don't have his book. And it's his Modified Celtic Cross. And what I like about this is the 2 cards you lay down here, you lay side by side, and they become your question. Not where you are and what covers you, but this is your question. And over here, this card down here is how you see your question. And there's a few other modifications. But I think as far as reading for someone, that is just a really sharp way to do that. And I'm really into it. And then, of course, just a regular 3 or 4 card spread if I'm just pulling. It's correct. I can't tell if it's too hot or too cold in here. Most anticipated deck of 2020, year ahead, timeless question. I am kind of the past mass consumerism, and it just, first of all, blows me out how many decks there are. You know, even 20 years ago, I was like, I mean, like say in the old days when there was eBay, and there was on eBay, and I just saw on eBay, and I bought witch things, and I bought crystal balls, and I bought stones, and, you know, but now I'm just, I love that Bohemian Moon and the Vampire, but I pretty much am working with what I have or what I end up with. I mean, I just got that Book of the Dead, but I don't have a big wish list on Amazon. The only reason I made a wish list on Amazon, of which I've kind of deleted it, is when my daughter said, you know, do you want a tarot deck or oracle deck or something for Christmas? And she's not into it at all. No one in my family's into it. They don't even understand what I'm doing. They don't care if I'm doing it, but they don't know what it is, okay? If it had quarterbacks and stuff, they'd probably know. God bless them. I love them. So, I don't have a wish list. Nah. What are my impressions, fears about tarot? My impressions is it's a way to tap into the collective unconscious. I have no fears about tarot. Would you like to start reading tarot? And if no, explain what is stopping you from reading. I got like a few things on this one. I would like to start reading tarot again. One thing that's stopping me is my physical ability, my knees. I currently don't have a vehicle. Before I had a hot little pickup truck. But going to set up, because I was, even a few years back, still setting up with Young Living at fairs and such. But the fees can be anywhere from $50 to $400. I am an elderly woman, crone, that's living on Social Security, a single mom statistic. I don't have any extra money, but pretty much what that government pension thing is that you got for that you're alive this long. And there's a lot to carry, there's a lot to haul in. There's tables, there's chairs, there's canopies, there's product, you know, if you're doing more. So there's that, and I don't have a partner on to do that. I'm reading online, but I'm just reading out. I haven't taken on any clients, and the reason why I haven't taken on any clients online is because I have a lot of other issues pending, and I just haven't put the time into that. Though I would like to read some local at fairs. But this is just a Pisces boundary thing. Like that said, I think about Pisces makes a boundary by a stick and sticks to the water, right? Is I got all excited and I said, I've started a tarot channel and I'm going to read tarot. And I started a tarot channel. So I had two friends come by. One I hadn't seen or spoken to in 3, 4, 5 years. And she was like, let's do a tarot spread. She did a tarot spread, and we read the tarot spread. Okay. She gave me a ride to drumming. We rode bikes for a couple times after that, whatever. And then another woman comes by, and she's got a new deck, and it's by, not Clara Barton Reed, Denise Lynn, one of them. They used to be on Hay House Radio. Used to listen to them all the time on Hay House Radio. This was before they had tarot decks. They had radio shows. And anyway, she's going to read for me. And it's like I started a tarot channel and said I was going to start reading the tarot. And people start coming here to read tarot to me or to use my cards to read tarot. And that was just kind of weird, you know. Still not quite, I'm still working on my boundaries on that. I don't mind doing tarot for friends. I know they say not to do it for free, but I'm not so worried about making a living at it. I mean, it would be nice to have some extra money, but mine is for the best of myself and for all that is. So I just have to stay in that. No wish list, impressions, fears, reading. Have I ever gotten a reading from another reader and what were my feelings towards it? My reader used to own the metaphysical bookstore in Missoula, Montana. Her name is Val. I have always considered her my tarot dealer, my tarot reader. I learned so much from her and from things in her shop and things from her socially. So I think I was in Bozeman, Montana at a holistic fair. This would have been 15 years ago or something. And I hadn't seen her in a while. She was there, and she threw me a spread. And I wondered now if it was Osha Zen cards. Because the cards, it was like so weird. They were just like so different. Because they were all like Oriental kind of cards. And I looked at the cards, and she looked at the cards, and we looked at each other, and she says, you don't ever need another card reading again. So, which... She's awesome. She's a teacher, works on the PhD teacher working on the reservations, the Indians. And, you know, every time I've had a card reading since then, which has been mostly to support the space that our bookstore here holds. And in fact, I quit. The last one I had someone else paid for because they wanted to go ham, and I'm going, no. But the most recent ones I've had have just been... Now, that was a general reading she did for me, but it was like, came out to be spiritual. And I never seem to have a question because I am a creator and a manifester, for good or bad. And most of them, they go, you know, that I'm going to meet this guy. One told me I was going to put up a teepee with all these stones, and I just moved here from Montana and working on the reservations. But they've always got some deal for me, but they're not things that are in my thoughts, and they're not things that have ever really manifested. So, I don't know. That's weird. But that one that was, I think, the Osho Zen that she did for me, the last one I had, like, that radiated. And, you know, next time I go to Ren Fair, I might get one. I almost got one last time, but actually had this much money and was deciding which way to go with my money. have ever gotten a reading from, what type of vibes do I like to feel when getting a reading? I like the interaction. Now, if I'm reading, like say I'm reading for one of my girlfriends and I'm putting it on text back to her, I don't want her butting in every time asking me all these questions. I want her to let me get the reading up and we can do it. Now, if someone is here with me, I want interaction. I want interaction with them. We go through the cards. We look at the cards. We talk about the cards. And one of the coolest examples, I've had 2 examples of this. One time I did a reading in my girlfriend's metaphysical store, and I looked down, it was like, oh my God, it could not have been a darker, more horrid reading. And I looked at her, and she was looking at it, and I don't even remember what I said. And she goes, no, it's okay, it's perfect. It's exactly what's going on in my life right now. So the dark reading, I'm not going to make something up, you know, but she read her reading. She read her reading. She identified who all the people were, what was going on. And another time I was at a Ren fair, and some woman comes running up to me and says she remembers me, and I read her cards. I have no idea. And she left her husband, and now she's with this guy, and they're part of the, can't think of what the name of it is off our mind, but that group that does the Ren fairs and does the campouts, and she's never been happier in her life. So I like those kind of feelings from when I do a reading, yeah. And I like interaction. And tag the next TarotTuber reader, which I am really not going to, because it seems like everybody's already on this. It's been 22 minutes. I feel like I rambled forever. I don't know if I said anything useful. But I thank you all. Many blessings. Tonight's our big and final parade of Mardi Gras. I have grandchildren, great-grandchildren here from the woods of Montana. And we were talking about important things, cell phones. They can't get cell phones up the canyons where they live either. So a lot of family here together. There's something that hasn't happened in 20 years. We're manifesting a family, which is going to come out probably in my next card reading. It's an absolutely awesomely beautiful day. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.